Do you want to climb Mount St. Helens? I'll show you what the climb is like. My wife Judy and I were out on vacation in the Pacific Northwest last August, and we saw that Mount St. Helens was almost right on the route we were driving, so we decided to make a stop there. We ended up spending 2 days. The first day we visited the visitor centers on Route 504 to the north of Mount St. Helens, and then the second day we climbed the mountain. I remember the eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980 very well, so I was really anxious to see it. I've wanted to see it for a long time. Mount St. Helens used to be a conically shaped mountain with a summit elevation of about 9,700 feet. But the eruption in 1980 blew 1,300 feet off the top of the mountain. And it was an extremely violent eruption, a lot of devastation. Almost 60 people died. Anyway, we drove out on Route 504 to some of the visitor centers. We wanted to go all the way to the end to Johnston Ridge Observatory, but there had been a landslide a few months before we left, and it washed out the road just before the Johnston Ridge Observatory, so we couldn't go there. And I actually read recently that it's not going to be open until at least 2026, so it's going to take that long for them to fix the road. So we visited 2 visitor centers on Route 504. One is the Forest Learning Center, sponsored by Weyerhaeuser. They have a lot of good exhibits, definitely worth seeing. And I got to ride this cool helicopter, and I made all the little kids wait in line. After that, we went out to the Science and Learning Center at Coldwater Lake. They have some good exhibits there too that was also worth visiting, and it normally would have a nice view into the crater of Mount St. Helens, but the day we were there was a lot of smoke from wildfires, and so we really didn't get those views into the crater. But we did do a short hike along the lake, and it's really nice. The second day was the day we were climbing the mountain, and to do that we had to go to the trailhead, which is called Climbers Bivouac, and it's on the south side of the mountain, the opposite side of the mountain. It's only 11 miles as the crow flies from Science and Learning Center, but the drive is about 115 miles. It's an easy ride, except for the last 2.5 or 3 miles. It's a dirt road, has some rough sections. We were able to drive it even with a low clearance rental vehicle. Climbers Bivouac is a great spot. We camped there. There are campsites there, and I highly recommend that because then you can just get up in the morning and go. You don't have to do a long drive to the mountain. We got a pretty good campsite. Spent some time relaxing, then cooked our dinner, and then got up early the next morning and started the climb. So after signing in at the register, we started up, and the climb really consists of 3 different sections. The first section is the forest section. It's about 2 miles long. It's not that steep, and it's just a beautiful walk in the forest. You would never even know that there was a volcanic eruption from that section. It doesn't look like it had any impact on that area at all. At the end of that section comes the volcanic rock section, but you can't continue beyond the forest section unless you have a permit to climb. Judy wasn't interested in climbing, so we didn't have a permit for her, but I did have a permit for myself. And by the way, you get the permits on recreation.gov, and permits become available on the first of the month preceding the month you want to climb. So I climbed in August, permits became available July 1st, and I logged in right at 7 a.m. Pacific time and was able to get a permit no problem. The climb through that forest section is on the Ptarmigan Trail, and then once you leave the Ptarmigan Trail, you join the Monitor Ridge climbing route from that point forward. So the volcanic rock section is very steep. It's just a jumble of volcanic rocks. The rocks are sharp. They can tear up your hand, so a lot of people wear gloves. It's about 1.5 miles long, and there isn't really a trail. There are wooden posts to mark a route, but you really pick your own route through the rocks. After that comes the volcanic sand section. It's like climbing on a beach that's tilted at like a 30-degree angle. So it's difficult. You lose a foot with every step you take, so it takes a long time. That gets you to the crater rim, and then the summit is another 1/2 mile to the west along the crater rim, and the whole time you get great views into the crater. You can see the lava dome and the steam coming out, the snow in there. Again, because of smoke from wildfires, I didn't get any of the long distance views to Mount Rainier and Mount Adams that you would normally get, but it was still definitely worth doing the climb. So I'm going to show you some videos of what the climb looks like. I took these videos on the way down from the mountain. I didn't take videos on the way up. So I'll start near the top and then show you the videos on the way back down. Okay, it's 10 past 11. I've reached the crater rim. Looking down into the crater here. It's really smoky, so the visibility is not good, but Nevertheless, I can see the crater, there's snow in there, and I can see the mound in the middle that's growing. I'm at about 82 feet, 80 to 50. I have about 100 feet left to get to the actual summit, which I'm going to do right now. I'm approaching the summit now, looking off to the right into the crater, directly in down the snow, the steam coming out of the vents down there. Here's the summit cairn. It took me about 4.5 hours to get up here. It's a tough climb. Here's the summit cairn right here. Even when you get to the crater rim, you think you're at the summit, but you're not. You have to walk another half a mile, and it's up and down. It's difficult. And I'm looking right down into the crater, which is amazing. I can hear little rock slides going on all the time. You're walking right next to the rim of this trail with a huge drop down. But the mountain's quiet today, except for those rock falls. The visibility is not good at all because of the wildfires, but I'm glad I came up here because I at least get to see into the crater. And here's the view to the west wall of the crater. And then down into the crater, there's a lot of snow in there. It's not cold today, but it's windy up here. And then the east wall of the crater over there. There's the trail. But I have to walk all the way back over to that summit right there, and then back down. Quite a ways back. I think a lot of people probably just come up to the crater rim and don't go any further, but I saw the summit out here and wanted to come out here, so I did it. Glad I did. And I'm going to eat my lunch and then head back down. This is the trail. I'm heading back down now. But the summit ridge has ups and downs on it, so you have to go up and down a couple hundred feet. And it's right next to the crater. It's unbelievable. You can hear little rock slides going on constantly. So I'm climbing up there, and then I have to, I think, go one more of those bumps and then start to climb down to the base. But this is how close to the crater edge that you walk. You just walk right next to the crater. This is the sandy, loose rock section at the top. You have about 1.5 miles of this. And it's really easy going down. It's almost like skiing, but it's brutal coming up. You lose 50% of your progress on every step as you slide back. It's really tough. And after this, I'll hit the volcanic rock section. There's a lot of climbing over rocks. It's a little bit tricky. Quite a climb. It looks like it's clearing up now at the top, but the crater's still smoky. You can't really see a long way, but it is going to clear up later on this afternoon, I think. So I finished the scree section at the top, and now I'm into the rock section. It looks like this. Some of it's worse than this. And you cannot fly down this section. You can't fly up it either. You have to use your hands a lot, so a lot of people put their poles away. I chose to keep one pole, put the other pole away, and then I use mostly my left hand. I mostly have the pole in my right hand. Sometimes I switch. But you have to find a path. There's no trail, so you just try to find your best path through these rocks. You can see where other people have walked, and this goes on for another 1.5 miles until you get to the forest section, and that'll be an easy walk out. So here's some more of the rocky section. You can see how difficult this is. See why it takes some time. And I'm going to go down there, and then it goes, I think, either over or right around that bump right there. It's all rocky like this that you have to climb over. But you can sometimes see, I don't know if you can see this in the video, but down here, you can see a path where a lot of people have walked. It's lower than the actual trail.
And it's sandy, but it's not as rocky, so it'd be easy to walk. So when I get there, I'll probably get onto that section. I put on my left glove. Some people wear gloves on this section because you use your hands a lot, and these rocks tear up your hands. I didn't bother with the right hand because I'm usually holding my pole, but I did put on my left glove. Okay, I made it through the rock scramble section, and I'm into the last section of the downhill hike, which is this forest section. And this part is great. It's really great footing. Forest is really nice, big, old, beautiful trees, and just really easy walking. It's about 2 miles. This section's about 2 miles. The trail drops about 1,100 feet in that 2 miles, or climbs 1,100 feet on the way up. And then I'll be back at the beginning, Climbers Bivouac, and we'll drive to Portland. A great hike, amazing hike. I wish the air quality had been better, but it was still amazing looking into that crater at the top of Mount St. Helens.
So that's what the hike up Mount St. Helens is like. It's a challenging climb, but it's really great. I've climbed a lot of mountains, but this is the first active volcano I've climbed, and it's a pretty cool experience. I recorded this hike on Strava, and it ended up being almost 10 miles with almost 4,900 feet of elevation gain. I think if I had skipped the summit and just gone to the crater rim, it would have been closer to 9 miles. Miles 3 and 4, which included the rock scramble and the first part of the volcanic ash section, had the most elevation gain. That's definitely the steepest and most difficult part of the hike. So if you find yourself in the area, I definitely recommend doing this hike. I hope you get a chance to do it, and I hope you have clearer skies than I had. And thanks for watching.